Hello, my lovely angels, and welcome back to the Skinny Dip podcast.
Why can't you say, hey, lizards, welcome to the Skinny Dip podcast? Or like, hey, gal pat. Like, it's always the angels.
Lizards?
The angels unite. Yeah, I don't know. Something spicy.
Well, I feel like angel is my term of endearment. For a girl.
Okay.
Actually, I guess I say it to Alex, too. I like saying angel. Like, I like calling people angel. Okay. I don't know if it's the same, you know, when people actually call people love.
Mm-hmm. I say that, actually.
Oh, okay. I feel like sometimes it can come off almost a little condescending.
Totally. Maybe that's accidentally why I say it. I don't mean it in a bad way, but
I don't mean angel in a bad way. I mean angel in the best possible way. Like if I call you angel, I like love you.
When we were growing up, my sister Shannon wanted to change her name to Angel, and so anytime you spoke to her, you had to call her Angel.
That's really sweet.
It's a little obnoxious if you ask me. I'll have to check in with her on that and see if she wants me to call her that going forward.
Yeah.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome to another week, another episode. Let's on the count of 3 do a pulse check of how we're feeling this week. Scale of 1 to 10. 10 being you're thriving.
Hold on, sorry. I get nervous with these. Do you mean like last week or like right now?
Right now. Like just like how are we feeling recently? Scale of 1 to 10. 10
recently.
being amazing. 1 being I could be better. On the count of 3.
Okay.
You literally look like you just shat a brick. Are you okay? Are you okay? It does not have to be, you can just pick a number. I'm not going to hold you to it. Oh, she's actually shouting a brick. Okay. We just have to read the Band-Aid off. 1, 2, 3, 6.
6.5.
Oh. Wow. We're both 6s. Okay.
I said 6.5.
You did say 6.5. Okay. Wow.
Okay.
All right. I just wanted to check in with us, but well, let's do a recommendations. We'll circle back to that, but I just wanted to do a quick check.
I liked that
because I think we need it for this episode. I think we're gonna need a pulse check. Before we, are you okay?
No.
What's happening right now? Should we circle back? Like, are you okay? All right. I'm gonna start off with my recommendation because I feel like we have a lot to talk about in this episode, and respectfully, I just want to dig into it because I feel like I probably need this chat. So I'm gonna start with my recommendation while you pull up yours. Okay?
Yeah. Okay. I have mine.
I have my show and tell.
Oh, ASMR. Nice.
Guys, I'm going to go out on a limb and say what I'm about to suggest is not cheap, okay? It's not cheap. This is something that if you really want to try it, you're putting $25 away for the next 4 months to pay for, okay? I don't want to sell something that this is not cheap. I probably spend way too much money on this. It lasts me a really long time. Renee actually turned me on to it, and I feel like it really does help my skin. So it's the Skincetuicals Blemish, Age, and Defense. Salicylic acid acne treatment. I use this when I have like random breakouts. It's like it's a liquid. I'm very nervous doing this because this is almost like
you can't drop that
$8 every time I do that.
Yeah.
But it's really good if you have cystic acne, and I feel like it's just straight. I don't want to say like it sounds bad, but it's like straight acid on your skin. Okay, it's like straight acid on your skin, and it really gets rid of those blemishes. So if you're looking for something because you've tried everything on the market and nothing works, I suggest this. I know Renee doesn't use it anymore, but I actually really do love it.
I should circle back. I actually forgot about it.
She's like $96. Yeah. Okay. So let's not incorporate this into the budget episode, but she's pricey. Okay. She's worth it. She lasts a while, right? Like you don't put a lot on your skin, you put a little on your skin. So she lasts a really long time. But she's pricey. That's my recommendation.
Okay, well that's good because what's happening with me?
I don't know. You're giving me very uncomfortable sounds.
Okay, I think today is some sort of Prime Day. So this is on Amazon that you can order it from. It's the Indian Healing Clay Face Mask, Aztec Secret. Have you ever seen this?
Never seen it, never heard it. Okay.
I think it's a bentonite, yes. It's 100% natural calcium bentonite clay.
Isn't bentonite a type of burn? Oh, that's a Bunsen burner. Sorry, continue. Sorry.
And I've seen like TikToks about this before. I don't remember where I originally heard about this face mask, but they like sell it at Whole Foods. I've just like seen it forever, and I've had it for a very long time, and I recently restarted using it. I don't know why I like forgot about it, and then I just like kind of just stopped using it, put it in like the back of my cosmetic stuff, and then I was like, oh, let me do this face mask. So I put it on and I forgot. It is so good. It really like pulls the stuff out of your pores. And it's very inexpensive. Right now it's only $5 on Amazon, but I think it's because I think it's Amazon Prime Day or something. But I think it's normally about $20. And it's just gonna be in this big carton jar or whatever, and you take a few spoonfuls of it, and you can either mix it with water or apple cider vinegar, and I mix it with apple cider vinegar, and it turns
Makes
into
me
like
nauseous.
It's really gross. The apple cider vinegar is really gross, but it like is a little bit more effective apparently. I don't really know why, but
that
it
makes
is.
sense.
And you mix it up and it turns into this like paste, and you put it all over your face, and it dries, and it's like a clay mask. It's a very good clay mask. So
Okay.
I really recommend this. The Aztec Secret Indian Healing Clay face mask.
Oh, okay. Two things. One, I definitely would try that. It sounds great. But two, I'm rolling my eyes because I swear anytime we have to link something or anytime we have to give you guys whatever the links that we give you for our recommendations, Renee picks the ones that are like 10 words long for the sentence. And I'm typing this up and I'm like, oh, for F's sake, like, Aztec, Simonian, underground water, Himalayan, sea salt scrub. I'm like, you couldn't have just picked a water bottle. You couldn't have just lessened the title. Anyway, that's a me problem. That's an adult problem.
No, come on. I gotta give the people true stuff that works. So
I like your recommendations just because it's very yin yangy. I'm recommending something that maybe you need to start saving up for now, and then you're recommending something that you could probably find $5 on the ground and pay for.
Yep,
that's fantastic. Okay, this week we are. Let's just say it. Adult life blows. Okay. Yeah. Like we're talking all things adult life, all things adulthood, all things transition, all things that come from being an adult. And it's hard. It's really hard. And we're going to talk through it and hopefully try to help lessen the blow of it. Because let's call it for what it is. The fact that you and I both said we're sixes. What do we think that means? Like, why did you say 6 right now, currently, with how you feel with everything going on?
6.5.
Oh, sorry, 6.5. Like, why do you feel like a 6.5?
I said 6.5 because I couldn't pick between a 6 or a 7, and I was like, "Ooh, 7 feels too high." But I also didn't want to be negative and be like, because I don't necessarily have anything bad going on right now, so I really shouldn't be like. But again, that doesn't.
You just feel like you're at a 6.5.
Yeah, I feel like I could be better.
Okay.
I think it's just. Maybe I just sometimes feel a little bit. I think most days I feel overwhelmed. I think I make myself feel overwhelmed when I don't necessarily have to, in a way. I think I just have the tendency to really pack on a lot of tasks for myself that can make me feel overwhelmed. I never really yesterday I truly like took a moment. I was like, okay, I am like relaxing today, and I'm not going to make myself feel guilty about it, which I just really shouldn't. But I'm just like kind of that person that like I have that personality that's like I have to be doing something all the time.
Yeah, sometimes your to-do lists are a little overkill for me personally.
Like I won't sit down, and I don't know. I gotta work on that. But why do you feel like a 6?
I just feel like recently life has been really lifing. And I feel like I've been saying that for a while. Not a while. I don't know if it's just because right now with work, we're really busy. Like it's pre-holiday and we are just in, for a lack of better words, hell. Like I'm not having a good time. I'm so busy at work that even working from home and starting work early and ending work late, it's just like not enough time. And that's a lot. And then I just feel like personally there's just a lot going on with me recently, and I just feel um really heavy in emotion in my
Yeah.
personal life recently, and I just feel like, I was joking around, or Abiel and I were talking, and there's just a lot going on. And then my grandmother was also a little sick, so there's just, I feel like sometimes when it rains it pours, and I feel like
Yes.
honestly the hardest part is when you have everything going on in life that lives, and on top of that you still have to go to work every day, and on top of that you still have to pay your bills every day, and on top of that you still have to keep the promises you make to yourself and go to the gym. And on top of that, you still have to run to the tailor. Like, you just have so much to do sometimes. And, I honestly can't remember when the last time I had a good cry was. Maybe
Mm.
I'm due for a good cry and just like release all that tension. But I just feel like right now I'm at a 6. I'm very, call it for what it is. Like, I have my health, I have my family's health, I have everyone I love's health. Like, that is number one always.
Yeah.
Um, I just feel like it's been really busy, and I feel like September was really busy, and I was traveling a lot, and
Yes.
it's just a lot. I just feel a
Yeah.
lot.
I think that's exactly how I feel the same way. I mean, I don't necessarily. I guess like yeah, there are personal things that go on that just like weigh on you heavy too. Like I still have that going on as well. And in addition of like I was traveling for work and now I'm gonna be traveling again. And I do have this like really big goal of the marathon coming up. So that's a whole other thing that's just kind of been
Yeah.
like layered on top of my adult life that I think makes it more stressful, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
Um but I mean, dude, this
Like,
is
is it the time of year? Is that what's happening right now? Because it's, like,
I
the
really don't.
upcoming holidays, and so it's, like, busy, or is it just I don't know, it's so hard to tell if it's just so hard to tell, but I just feel like life has been really tough recently. I do. I just think it's been very emotionally draining,
Uh, yeah, I do think
personally.
like things can become more and more complicated sometimes as we get older. I mean,
Yeah.
I've noticed it just because I've definitely. I mean, I'm in my late 20s now, so I've
Mhm.
definitely seen how things have kind of stacked up as I've gotten in like deeper into my 20s.
Yeah.
Because like I got married, and so like that's a whole nother like life transition and change, and something that's like a responsibility that I have. And then there's just different admin things that get layered onto your life that's like responsibilities, and your job maybe becomes you start to get into a different position. You're maybe in a higher position, so that has more responsibility. Um, Yeah, I think it just gets a little bit more and more, at least for me, from my notice each year. I'm like, okay, the stakes are getting higher. And I think I've
The
I've
stakes are
definitely
getting higher.
within the last, I would say, few months or so, I've been really focused on like finances. And that's something that I've been, I want to say, like more fine tuned in. And I don't want to say stress, but I guess it is more like stress. I've just
Yeah.
been really kind of like taking a look at things that I never really thought of to. I mean, I was putting away for retirement, but I wasn't like keeping up with like other things or like keeping my documents organized, just things like that that I'm starting to be like, okay, like I need to have my ducks in a row as an adult, because I notice the more and more unorganized I am, the harder things are
Yeah.
for like those kind of basic life tasks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um and I've said this like so many times, I think in like other episodes and stuff, about like having you run the day, don't have the day run you. And I
Yeah.
think I've noticed a lot sometimes when I am like creeping into like maybe feeling like a 5 or a 6 and not like, an 8, 9, 10, is because I'm letting the days run me and not the other way.
Yeah.
I'm not controlling what I can control.
Mhm.
And at least personally, it usually has a lot to do with my anxiety. If I'm really anxious, then I'm going to be more so spending my energy on things that I can't control
Right.
than focusing in on stuff that I actually do have control over.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've also just like learned, sorry, I'm kind of
No, hit let's this is I don't
I
even know what this is right now. This is open diary.
it's a therapy session.
Yeah, this is Dear Diary.
Ow. Oh my god. speaking of adult, I got my blood drawn this morning, and it like pulled on my
Oh, yeah.
pulled
That was
on my fur, the little thing that they.
my fur.
Sorry, that's kind of gross. I just took that off on cam, but it pulled on me, and that really hurt. The little Band-Aid thing they put on
Yeah.
it. Anyway, so oh fuck, where was I? What was I saying? Something about anxiety. Oh, so one of the things that I did want to talk about too, as far as like tips, I guess, on like how we can like maybe lessen some of this adulthood
Mhm.
things, is I have within the last, I would say, year to maybe year since we started this podcast, I
Mhm.
think I've really kind of like had this true realization on who I am as a person, the good and the bad. And
Mhm.
also like some like mental things that I struggle with that put parameters up for myself. Um I feel like I have undiagnosed ADHD. Like I like was doing research into it, and I was like, wow, like I have like all of these symptoms, and I was diagnosed with OCD, so like that just like learning these things that like put parameters up for myself, and having a better understanding of it has helped me in like my adult life.
Mhm.
Because I'm like, oh, that's how I process. Like that's how I do things, and that's okay. But I need to like, this is how I set myself up for success, and it may look different than the next person.
Yeah.
So I've kind of like had a better understanding about that this year, and that's helped me in my adult life with like being responsible, being disciplined, taking accountability, like all these things that are adult actions
Mhm.
that I think
That no one tells you about.
no.
No one prepares you for, right? And I think the hardest part, you know, I also maybe you would, I don't know if you would agree or disagree, but I don't think, I when I was 18, I didn't wake up at 18 and think, "Oh my god, I'm adult." I feel like as the years
Mm-mm.
progress and I just started to have more and more and more and more just adult stuff, like life added to your plate,
Yeah.
no one talks about that. No one talks about, when you hear your parents, you're always like, "Oh, they're my parents, I'm so tired. I'm a parent. I'm so tired. I'm so tired." Like, you're tired just from the basic stuff you have to get done and then adding kids on top of that. Like, no one prepares us for that. Like, literally no one like, no one that's why it's probably like you mentioned, just taking, the past year or whatever you've realized about yourself, it's like,
Mhm.
who no one teaches you that. No one
No.
teaches you it's stuff like this is the part of adulthood that's so hard. Is like when stuff comes up and you realize it and you understand it and you learn it and you have to go through it. How do you cope with that?
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's kind of a slow burn, like you said. Like
Mhm.
when I was 18, I wasn't even close to the amount of adult I am now. Like not even when I was
No.
25. Like I
No.
noticed it's kind of been slowly, I would say, throughout my 20s, I've noticed like more and more like I've noticed myself taking more responsibility for adult things.
Mhm.
There was a lot of stuff that like I was probably supposed to do as a quote unquote adult, like after 18, that I just wasn't doing, wasn't keeping up with, wasn't taking accountability for, wasn't being responsible with. Like there was a lot of stuff that I just was not doing, and I just didn't want to face it.
Yeah.
Um, and I think like definitely within the last year to 2 years, like I have been like very much like taking a lot of that stuff and facing it, because there's so many things as an adult that you just don't want to do. There is a lot
No.
of stuff in adulthood that's like, I don't want to do that. Did I want to get my blood drawn this morning? Absolutely not. Like
Right.
I do not want to. And there is that teenage self in me that like in my head that's like, "Ugh, just blow it off. Just don't
Yeah.
do it. Like just whatever. Like you don't have to go." It's like, no, you have to do things as an adult that you do not want to do.
Mhm.
And I've noticed within my early 20s that putting off those things creates larger consequences than just actually going and doing it.
Yep.
Putting off like being in tune with my finances and making financial decisions that were not in my best interest have consequences.
Mhm.
And I now have to pay for a lot of those consequences. not keeping up with blood work in my early 20s. Like, I had an unrooted diagnosis that I did not pay attention to.
It's not funny, but it is. It's not
Probably,
funny, but it is.
I don't know, 4 to 5 years. I was just having
Right.
these weird symptoms, and I was like, whatever, and put that off. Like, there's stuff that you kind of just have to like grow up and be like, okay, I've got to put like my big girl pants on. But at the same time, like, I've just, personally, like, there are reasons why, like, I'm just using the example of blood work because I literally got it done this morning, and it was an adult thing I would not do. And I wouldn't do it because I don't like needles. I don't like blood. I pass out, this, and that. But I just learned through learning myself, okay, I need to ask to be laid down when I do it.
Yeah.
It's fine. Like, it's okay. Like, if that's how I need to get it done, then that's how I have to get it done. Like, you just like learn about how to get through, how to navigate life and what that looks like for you.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Like, I just wouldn't go and do it because I was like, oh, I'm scared I'm going to pass out. I'm scared somebody's going to judge me. I'm scared this, and that. Okay, just, you got to get past the stuff. Like, I wouldn't go on planes. Like, these things that like limit me in my adult life. Like, you have to just learn how to best navigate it with the tools that you're given.
Yeah.
Which obviously looks different for everybody, but
I mean, I think the hardest part too, for me personally, is, okay, like you said, right? It's like owning the things you don't want to do. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And for me, I think recently too, what I find to be just so obnoxious in the world of adulthood is just figuring everything out on your own.
Yeah.
Like, figuring out, I'm not like, if I need my mom, I can call my mom and she'll tell me X, Y, and Z. But what am I going to do? Call my mom and tell her I have, a parking ticket that I have to figure out, but I have to go to the tailor and drop this off, but I have to go into the office tomorrow, so I won't be home, but I have to go pick like, you have to, everything, unfortunately, when you get to a certain point in time, you just got to figure it out on your own. And why don't we normalize how hard that is?
I know. I mean, because we're all busy. It's not, nobody's just, we're all doing, we're all in the same, like, we all have stuff going on. We all have personal lives. We all have jobs. We all have, we're trying to navigate emotions and feelings. We're trying to navigate maybe mental health stuff. We're trying to eat healthy maybe, or work out. We're all jam-packed in our day.
Yeah.
And I think we all want to act like we have it figured out because it makes us feel better. But like, nobody has it figured out.
No one, literally, even if no one does.
In your 50s or 60s, I think you're probably still trying to navigate your hectic day. It's
100%. It's hard. It's so hard. And it's, I'm going to use a really dumb example. I had to renew a parking pass for the train station. I don't have checks. Okay. Should I have checks? Yeah, probably. I probably should have some checks.
I'm sorry.
I don't have checks. It came in September and it was due in September. And I just mailed it a few days ago. It's October. So what did I do? Instead of taking the time to go to the bank in September to order checks? I called my mom and I said, I need you to send me a check, a blank check. And I will send you the money for the amount that I have to pay. So what did my mom do? She mailed me a check and I sent it in. Because I didn't pre-plan.
Right. I think a lot of times, a lot of things in adulthood take a lot of pre-planning.
That's literally what it is.
So much pre-planning that you have to, and that's like one of my tips too, is like to pre-plan and to plan out your week. And like, that's one of those things that's like, okay, you know that you're probably going to have to do that next year. So let's just order the checks now. You know what I mean? So
100%.
But I think sometimes what I've noticed too, it's like when we don't take the time to pre-plan, or if we procrastinate certain tasks, we only make it harder for ourselves.
Yep.
And I've noticed that with like stuff that I do. And that's kind of been like something in my head that I've been like, okay, if you're going to put this off and not do it, or not do it the right way, or take the shortcut or whatever, you're going to either pay for it later, or it's going to make it worse, or it's going to be more difficult in the long term. Yep. So you kind of have to just like be disciplined within the, like, take care of stuff like now. you know,
Yeah.
like don't procrastinate certain things. I'm reading a really good book and I'm really obsessed with her and her podcast. I definitely brought her up before, Mel Robbins.
I think you actually, this is so inappropriate to say. I'm going to say it anyway. I think you have like a low key hard on for her because I feel like you talk about her all the time. No, all the time.
She's so good.
She's fantastic. I have no knocks towards her, but what did she tell you that was
Okay,
life
so
changing?
it is life changing. It's changed the lives of many people. But
Okay.
she has this, and I think it really could help people in this that are dealing with like adulthood things or whatever.
Mhm.
So she has this like tactic, this tool, and it's called the 5-second rule. And she uses it in her life to do things that she's been putting off or like get her to do, like put herself in action. So I think a lot of times we can feel kind of overwhelmed and then kind of get in this like freeze
Totally.
situation where you're like, oh, I've got to do the laundry and I've got to do this. Like, even after we're done recording this podcast right now, I have so much stupid, like, home admin stuff that I have to get done.
Me
that
too.
I'm like, I feel overwhelmed within my space. Like, everything feels overwhelming.
Yeah. And are you mad at yourself? Sorry to interrupt you, but I'm mad I didn't get up earlier. I'm mad. I'm mad at myself because I knew I had a busy day and I didn't get up earlier.
I do feel that. I've definitely felt that so many times. I don't necessarily feel that today because I went and got blood work in the morning. So, like, that was like my morning task. So, like, I had to get done and I did have to get up early for it, whatever. But I know exactly what you're feeling about, like, I prioritized my sleeping in late than like other stuff that I had to get done, which that's a whole, we could talk about that.
That's whole
And this is how Mel Robbins actually uses it, because I'm reading her book right now and she was in a place in her life, and I think it was in her early to mid 40s. They were $850,000 in debt, almost going to declare bankruptcy, her and her husband. Yeah, they were in business debt. He was like in a failing business. She was always the last person to get her kids on the bus. She never had lunches packed. Her house was a mess. She always snoozed her alarm, like just snooze, 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 snooze. She was laid off from her job, didn't know what she wanted to do, like really in just like the pit of her life. And I bet if you asked her what she would give herself as a score 1 to 10, she probably would give herself like, I don't know, a -2. Like, she was just in such a bad way. And she was sitting watching sorry, my contact is messed up, so I'm kind of trying to move it around. That must be annoying. But she was sitting watching the TV one night and this commercial came on and it was a rocket launching. And it was like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then the rocket like blasted off. And she was sitting there and she was like, wow. She was like, you know what? Tomorrow, when I am sleeping in my bed and I want to snooze the alarm, instead, I'm going to say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and just get up and like rocket off my bed. And the next morning when she woke up and her alarm went off, she turned it off and she had that first instinct of wanting to go back to sleep. But instead, she said 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and she just got up and got up. And she started using this within her life, this tactic of saying 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 before she like had that hesitation of wanting to do something, hesitating making the phone call to make a doctor's appointment, or hesitating to go to the gym, or hesitating to make a healthy meal, like whatever it was that she was hesitating with to wake up in the morning. She would say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and she would just put her body in action and do it. And what she found was that this is actually, it's some sort of thing that it gets your brain on this. There's something within our brains that when we start to think of a task that we have to do, we get overwhelmed with all of the little minute details that have to get done. And our brain just wants to like keep us safe, and necessarily like it wants us to just like talk us out of things.
Yeah.
Our brain is literally working against ourselves most times because it kind of likes to just do that same thing. When we get stuck in these habits, it wants to get stuck in the same exact kind of programming because that's what our brain likes. It doesn't necessarily like change. Like, our brain is like not programmed to like it.
Right.
So when you say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, instead of thinking about postponing a task, your brain is focusing on the countdown of the numbers. And then as soon as you hear 1, you act. And it kind of just gets the ball rolling. So it's a really interesting tool, and I've been trying to use it throughout my life, especially with the waking up in the morning because I am such a bad snoozer.
Yeah.
And just like certain things that I just don't want to do. Sometimes you don't want to send that text, or you don't want to have that conversation, or you're putting off that one thing on your to-do list.
Yep.
That you just kind of like, it's worse to have it like looming over your head all day.
Yeah.
So there's that other saying that says like eat the frog in the morning. Have you ever heard that?
Absolutely not.
Okay, it's like, I might be saying it wrong. I don't think I am, but it's like to do your least favorite task right away. Like, let's say like you have like 5 things on your to-do list and there's that one thing you just don't want to do, get it done first.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was kind of my rant, but it's just like an interesting tool. And if anybody wants to read her book, I recommend it. It's an older book, but
that's like a huge part of being an adult, right? It's how do you conquer those tasks? How do you do the things you don't want to do? I also think there's a huge, I don't know, maybe people don't say it because they don't want to come off as negative, but like, sometimes you're not thriving. Okay. Sometimes in your adult life, you're not thriving. And I don't mean, you're laying in bed all day. I mean, you have 500 million things to do. You're in a mood. You have a lot going on at work. You still have to put on, whatever face and go through your day and do your thing. And you're just sometimes not feeling it.
Yeah.
And that is, I honestly think, I know Renee and I have talked about, or Renee's talked about a lot, how you can just like have a rotten day bed and you can just like do nothing all day. But, there's something to be said about pushing through the hard stuff, getting the stuff you don't want to do done. You're going through today, you're not in the best mood, but you're still running those errands, you're still getting this stuff done.
Yeah.
Work is going to come tomorrow. There's something to be said about that low vibration, that low energy that you're going through, because unfortunately, when you get to a certain point, you rely on you. And you rely on what you get done, and you rely on the tasks you set yourself up to do, the things you don't do, and you rely on yourself for that. So I honestly think our whole point of, today's Dear Diary episode almost is just like, we feel you, right? We feel, if you're listening to this and you're like, I hate being an adult. Like, I haven't paid that $20 bill yet. I haven't made the appointment at the doctor yet. I have 0 gas in my car. I've just been, my house is dirty. Like, we feel you. We're there with you. That is so normal to feel overwhelmed by the annoyances of adulthood, because it doesn't get easier. It just gets harder. Life throws you more complicated things. And I honestly think the biggest flex you can do is just keep pushing forward. Bounce off like a rocket. Was that bounce off like a rocket? Is that, does that make get on your launch pad?
Yeah.
Like, get on your launch pad. Life is hard and adulthood is hard. And while I love being an adult, I actually think I feel like I'm in a better place in my late 20s, 30s than I was at 21, 22, 23, 24.
Agreed. Yeah.
It comes with a lot of things. It comes with a lot of things you have to figure out. And, I also think there's a false narrative around everything being figure outable in a day. Nothing's going to be figure outable in a day.
Yeah.
And I honestly think, and I've been thinking about this a lot, the way you approach these annoyances in your life, these adult annoyances, in a manner, like if you address these things in a calm manner and you have a calm outlook, you will figure everything out.
Yes.
But I don't ever want anyone listening to this episode to think you're alone. You know what I mean? I feel like there's a lot of time people could think like, oh, again, social media, like, oh, they're doing this, they're doing that. They don't have all these daily struggles. Like, I can guarantee you, Renee and I are going to end this episode. We're probably not going to talk for the next day. Like, we just are like, so there's so much going on that like you're not alone in feeling like a lot of these adult tasks are challenging and annoying. You're not alone in that. Like, we are here with you. And so I know we already kind of gave some tips, right, Nay? We kind of gave them some.
Yeah, I did want to say too, because you brought, I forgot about this, but
okay,
there is this thing too that I think gets layered on, at least what I've noticed, is comparing yourself to other adults, whether that be adults that like are your peers, or your peers, or people that you see on social media. Like, sometimes I'll see like this, like a really affluent family on TikTok that look like they have everything and anything you could ever want, and their house looks immaculate, and they're always wearing the cutest outfits or whatever it is, and you're kind of like, ugh, and you're laying on your couch on TikTok swipping around looking at that, and you're like, well, shit,
Yeah.
it's that have you seen the TikTok sound that's going around? It's like, I'm just taking a little break from Slay.
No, but I'm sure it's gonna
Oh,
pop out now that you say
it's
that.
so funny. It's like, I'm just taking a little break from Slay, and then I'm gonna whatever. So you're just kind of like, and then you can have this like, you're just like, oh, I'm such a slob, and
Yeah.
you compare yourself to like what they're doing and whatever, and you don't even know these people. It's just somebody that TikTok fed you on your phone. But you've got to just like, sometimes like, one, I notice when I am on social media too much and I need to take like a little bit of a hiatus, and it's kind of when I start to compare myself, I do know that I'm like, okay, it's not a good vibe, like let's kind of take a step back
Mm-hmm.
and reassess, like be like, reassess and be actually in my own surrounding, not on this like fake online surrounding that I'm like indulging in.
Yeah.
So I just want to say that too, because I know that that's, everybody has that kind of, you compare yourself to others and you're like, oh, but I want that or this and that, and it's like, you don't need things to like feed the ego, like
No.
there's
And
no,
you don't know, like, if you're feeding your ego, like, okay, I need
yeah,
this, I need what they have. How do you know how? Maybe they're in like foreclosure with their house. You have no
you don't
idea.
know what their,
Like, you
yeah, their
literally have no idea because
financial
I
situation is like, yeah.
guarantee you, like, whoever you are in this world, not to cut you off, but it's like, people have mortgages, people have credit card bills, people have checking account issues, people have health issues. Like, everyone has the same issues. Everyone.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue to feed your
Well,
ego.
no, I think because I've just definitely been like, okay, Alex and I, we moved to Miami last year, and we've had a really fun year. I feel like we got married the year prior, and then we were in just kind of like living like newlywed life for like a year,
Yeah.
and not that we weren't focused on finances, but we just were making money and spending money.
Yeah.
Just put it for what
Yeah.
it is. And I think we both and we went on nice vacations, and we just did a lot of things this year that, I mean, I don't regret it, and we had a lot of fun, and we don't necessarily have a lot of financial responsibilities right now because we don't have kids,
Mm-hmm.
and we are renting, so we kind of had the ability to use our disposable income for fun.
Yeah.
But now I think we both are kind of in this mindset where like, okay, we've got goals, we've got things that we want to accomplish, we have things that we want to do, so we need to kind of take a step back, and we're not going to be door dashing, like we're not going to be
Right.
going out as often, and we took some nice vacations this year, but maybe next year it's going to be more so like buckling down and focusing on finances. So it's just like, I think sometimes in adulthood, you also have to have that, the accountability to be like, okay, like we had a great year, but all right, we've got to like take a moment to circle back
Yeah, because no
and be
one's
a
gonna
little
do
bit
that for
more
you.
disciplined. Yeah. So,
I mean,
I don't,
I guarantee you, your mom's not gonna call you and be like, "Did you guys put the $400 away? Did you guys
oh
save?"
yeah,
You
no.
know, like
Yeah.
no one's checking in on you. I mean, that's a rough statement, but I mean, your goals are your goals, right? And there gets to be a point in time that it's you, honey. It's
Yeah, and
you.
the reason why I brought up the financial thing is because like sometimes you'll be like, I think scrolling through TikTok, and you can't, at least from what I get sometimes on my algorithm, are people that seem very affluent and well
Mhm.
off, and you see them having like the nicest bags and the nicest cars and the beautiful homes, and you can compare yourself in that way.
Yeah.
But I've definitely been like checking myself with that, because I'm like, okay, there's no, material things don't matter, designer things don't matter. Like, I
No.
don't, that's not going to create happiness. At
Nope.
least not for me. That's not, but so I'm like, okay, I have certain financial goals and things that I'm focusing on. That's going to give me more happiness than going and buying the latest bag right now. There's nothing wrong with that, but I just know that, like, in my current stage of life, like, that's not my focus.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I think I just have to be like, okay, I'm not interested in that type of content right now. In the materialistic, like, wanting to, I can't be watching, like, hauls and stuff like that. I don't know. I guess that's kind of like a tip. Like, when you're in certain parts of your life, you maybe need to, like, reframe what you're looking and reading and digesting. Like, I don't want to be, like, focusing on, like, online shopping and stuff like that. Like, you can get, like, a lot of, like, very much, like, stuff that people are just, like, showing everything that they bought online.
Yeah.
And that's just, like, something I'm like, okay, I need to, like, not be watching that because that's not where I am right now. You
Yeah.
know, like, I need to be disciplined in a different way.
And that's also probably like, I'm grossly estimating this. That's probably 2% of the population. You know what I mean? When you actually think about
Oh, yeah.
what the day-to-day American day-to-day person is doing in the United States, I guarantee you most of them are not shopping at Prada. Like, I
Yeah.
guarantee you a lot of them are looking at their finances or looking at their weeks and being like, oh my God, I am so overwhelmed. I have no one to watch my kids on Tuesday. I have to go to work. My husband has to go to work.
Yeah.
I, have to pay this doctor's bill. I forgot to drop this off for my child. I didn't get to like, when you really peel back the facade that people put on and, what people are spending, like, you're probably surprised about how normal everyone is. And, like, the
Yeah.
content that you're seeing, like Renee said, the hauls, the this, that, like, that's probably very minute percentage of the population doing that.
Yeah. No,
I guarantee you
totally.
more people will probably wanna cry than they do wanna go a haul. I guarantee you that's probably more accurate because life has a funny way. It's almost like Mother Nature of not giving an F, right? Does not care. Life is going to throw you so many different things because that's just human nature and that's just what happens, and no knocks, but your white fox haul is, I don't think, going to, write that check to the medical bill company.
Yeah.
So it's just, there's so many different things that go on. Let's give some tips.
Yeah.
I know we kind of did. We said to remain organized, in time. I'm going to say time of crisis adulthood. Okay. Stay organized in times of crisis adulthood. I know we said to be calm, when life throws you crazy things and you're being really hard on yourself, I would say just remain calm. Renee also mentioned, I think what you say, accepting accountability. I think that was on
Yeah. It was also, I was saying, like, to learn who you truly are, like, the good parts of you and the bad parts of you. Things that you maybe struggle with, like, have a good understanding of, like, things that are parameters for you so
Yep.
that you know how to best serve yourself in situations. Like, again, blood work, I struggle with it. Flying on planes, I struggle with it. But I've learned through my adulthood how to best serve myself in those difficult moments. So there could be things within your life that you struggle with that you need to kind of, it's okay that you maybe have those things, but, like, learn how you can, like, best serve yourself in
Yep.
those moments of struggle. I like one thing that you wrote down was, like, accept reality. So I think a lot of times, again, this is maybe how I was in my early 2000s. That's what I wanted to say. In my early 20s, I loved putting on rose-colored glasses and kind of, like, not wanting to face things that I didn't wanna do or, like, didn't wanna deal with, and that has ramifications, that has consequences. We need to take ownership and accountability for stuff in our life. So, I think I liked that you put down, like, accept what you have going on right now and, like, is that kind of how you meant that, I
Yeah.
think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's exactly how I meant it. Cause I feel like it's so easy to look the other way. So easy to put on the glasses and just be like, yeah,
Yeah. Whatever.
but
I'll figure it out later.
I'll figure it out later.
Yeah,
But, like,
and
I
that's
actually think that's not a good idea. I don't
no.
think we should be, I mean, everything, I will say, I truly do believe everything is figure outable.
Yeah.
I do think life is one big puzzle, one big problem solving puzzle. So I do think everything is figure outable, but I think
I
if you
love
don't
that.
accept it literally everything's figure outable. But if you don't accept
It's a
it,
beautiful new word you're
it's so
creating.
fancy. I'm just so fancy. If you don't accept it and you ignore it, you're just screwing yourself. Really.
Yeah,
I
you
mean, you
really
are.
are.
You
Yeah.
are. It's okay to, it's okay to be and if you're going through something, it's okay to be in an initial state of shock about it. And it's okay to, be in denial and whatever, but you got to work through that. And at the end of the day, I honestly feel like half my job at work is always figuring out problems. Like everything is solvable. You can figure something out. So,
Yeah. You just may not like every solution.
no, and
But
that's okay. And you know what? Let's also say like that blows, okay?
yeah.
Sometimes when you have a solution and you don't like the solution, that sucks.
Yeah.
And you still have to do it.
Yeah.
You still have to do it. And that's a hard reality to swallow. That's a
Yeah.
hard part of being an adult.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, because what happens when you don't like the answers, but you're going to have to pick one?
Yep.
It is what it is.
Another little tip that I had on here was to try not to overcomplicate.
Let's highlight and clap for Renee for that one, because I agree with that one. That is huge.
I think we can, in some ways, overcomplicate things in our brain.
Yep.
When usually it's just like right there in front of you.
Yep.
And it's like, if you just go and get it done, just like get it done, you know?
Yep.
So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, just do it. So
Launchpad rocket up. That sounds weird. Rocket up sounds weird.
Yeah.
I wish I didn't say that.
Set boundaries for yourself, for relationships, for your work. I think that's also like bleeds into like knowing yourself and knowing what your boundaries are. I think we learn that as we get older. I've definitely started to learn more and more boundaries that I have that are important to me. And I think, there's also a fine line on like not having too many boundaries, like we want to still be open to things and stuff like that. But then there are very healthy boundaries that I think we need to keep in place. And those things can open and close as we get older, or as things change or whatever. But boundaries is a huge thing that needs to be determined, I think, in your own personal life, your work life, relationships. It's just I think sometimes when you're younger, you can be like a yes person, or if you struggle with people pleasing, you can really just get in with like I used to never cancel plans ever. If I said I was going to do something, I was going to do it, which is great. That's like a really nice thing to do. But at the same time, like, well, no, let me say this. I still don't ever cancel plans, but I will say no to plans now. No. And before I used to never do that. But sometimes it's like you have to know. You're like, okay, no, like I can't go and do that because I would just try to fit everything in because I didn't want to make somebody not like me. And it's like, okay, that's not, I need to like myself at the end of the day. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I had one other one, unless there's anything else you want to drop in as far as a tip.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, I think the biggest thing the only other thing I was going to say was just like I said a million times, like you're not alone. And I think the more you remember that and know that, you're not the only one feeling this way is true.
Yeah,
it's like accurate.
It's so good to know. And especially, well, I was talking poorly about social media and TikTok, but when you get on the right algorithm and you get served something that's so, you're like, wow,
relatable.
I needed to hear that. Like, I hope that this is something from like, I hope this combo is something for like that for somebody else. But sometimes I get something on TikTok and I'm like, oh, wow, like, okay, that was like something I never really thought of. And that I didn't think other people dealt with, and like somebody is saying that exact same situation, and it feels good to know that I'm not having a singular experience because like we're really not.
No one is. Everyone's doing the same thing, just in different algorithms and different levels. But we're all facing the same thing. You know what I mean? Like you're not alone in the trials and tribulations of adulthood, because it definitely does not come with an instruction book and doesn't come with rules. It just comes with, here you go, good luck.
Yeah. And like know that you're doing like your best. You really are. If every day you're putting yourself, if you're just doing 1% better every day, then you're doing it. So yeah, try to have grace with yourself too at the same time. But
And that's
Anyway.
it. I think that's our TED Talk Dear Diary.
Do you feel better?
I feel better that yeah, I feel better. I mean, do I feel better by my daunting test today? No.
Yeah, I
but
was gonna say,
no.
what's the main things you got to get done today?
I mean, listen, I feel like when I list them, you guys are gonna be like, "Oh, she's petty."
Well,
Like, she's
I
petty.
understand. What is it?
I have to go to the tailor. I have to get something tailored for my Halloween costume.
Wait, what? Are you going to a
Sometimes I don't have to tell you everything, Renee.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No.
Are you going to a Halloween party?
I think me and my sisters are going to like do something for Halloween. So I spent money I shouldn't have over the weekend to get pants.
What are you gonna be for Halloween?
So I think I'm gonna
gonna share?
Should I share it now or should I share it later?
Yeah, why not share
Because
it?
if I don't end up doing anything for Halloween, I'm just gonna have this like outfit.
That's okay.
But I think I'm gonna be like a 70s gal pal. So
I love
these bell-bottom jeans are actually really cute. So I want to get them hemmed just so I can probably wear them like to the office or something.
Yeah.
So I have to do that, and then I need to go return something because that's money back in my wallet.
Right, girl math. If you return something, it's free.
It's free. It's new money. So I have to go get money. So I have to go return something. Then I have to go to the gym, and then I need to like try to like clean my couches again. I want to like clean my couches. I just feel like I have a lot of stuff to do. Like I just feel like I just got stuff. I got like figure out what I'm having for dinner. Like I got stuff. It sounds petty, but when you have to run all over town, it's not fun. I'm not having a good time.
I get it. Yeah, that when you called me, I think it was on Friday, I had like 4 different errands, and I was definitely probably sounded like annoyed, but it was because
I ignored you, but yeah.
I had to go and do it. Just when you're bopping around places and you feel like you're on a time constraint, it gives me this weird pit in my stomach feeling.
Yeah, no, I feel you. So that's what I'm about to go do. And I'm sure Renee has a million other admin home tasks that she said she needs to do.
Yeah, I just want to like kind of, I'm feeling like that sense of wanting to clean like top to bottom.
Yeah, that's what happens when we don't stay on top of stuff. But anyway, we're going to go try to conquer our adult annoyances.
Yes.
We hope that you guys took something from this episode and that you guys maybe relate to it because we feel you. We're with you. We hope you have a fantastic week, fantastic day, and we will talk to you guys next week. Adios.
Bye.